this morning, we're hearing from the Tennessee Attorney General on what he calls a big win for student athletes. We've got the NCAA that'll now let schools offer name, image, and likeness deals to athletes before enrollment.
Joining us live this morning is the Attorney General for the state of Tennessee. The AG is Jonathan Skrmetti. Mr. Skrmetti, good morning, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. What does this ruling really mean here for students and parents, too, across the state?
So college sports is a billion-dollar industry, multi-billion-dollar industry. And for a long time, the only people who weren't able to get a piece of that were the student athletes who actually made it happen. The Supreme Court has recognized that student athletes have name, image, and likeness rights. They're able to use that intellectual property right to make money, but the NCAA rules wouldn't allow them to negotiate and figure out how they could get the best deal. So this settlement resolves that. The NCAA was illegally reducing the ability of student athletes to negotiate. Now they're able to negotiate their NIL deals prior to deciding what school they're going to attend, which means they're able to take advantage of market forces to get the best deal they can. So it's fair for everybody. It lets these student athletes exercise the rights that the courts have recognized.
And you know, you have to wonder too whether it might lead to some of the signings and then the unsignings that have happened, right? Yeah. Where students have committed to a school and then they decommit because they get a better offer somewhere else in the process. I'm curious though, you know, we've heard from a lot of college coaches who really don't like this new system. They feel like it has forever changed the game and not necessarily for the better. What does this ruling do when it comes to those coaches that are trying to run these programs at their schools?
Yeah, I mean, the game has changed. That's the problem. Like, we can't go back to the old days. I wish we could. You throw on your leather helmet, you and your buddies from the dorm, you know, stick it to those jerks from down the road. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. This is not the system that we want to see in the long run, right? There have to be rules that actually make sense. What we had were rules that were actively hurting the student athletes. We cleared those out. But we need leadership from either the NCAA or from somebody who's able to make that choice to create a new system where the coaches don't have to constantly recruit the same players over and over, trying to keep the team they already had. We need a system that incentivizes players to stay with their schools, so it's not a matter of bouncing around year to year. I mean, college sports doesn't matter for anybody if it's just a collection of mercenaries who come and go. But the rules that we had were for an old era. It no longer exists, and we need to clear out the bad rules, which is what this is. But this is not the final destination. There has to be a new regime for college sports that recognizes the new realities, that treats student athletes fairly, but that incentivizes the kind of community commitment and the meaningful relationships between the players, the schools, and the fans that we want out of college sports.
All right, the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee, Jonathan Skrmetti, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning, sir.